So today I'd like to share with you all about our outhouse. When we first started making strides towards moving over here, one of the first things we realized we needed to do was to have a place to use the restroom, right? Like, what do civilizations need to establish first? So when we began, we literally just had like a bucket out here. And I will put in some pictures of the progress of the whole transformation of our composting outhouse at the end of the video, and I'll link a timestamp below. So this is our outhouse though. It's pretty simple. It's all reclaimed materials, donated materials. Yeah. And it's going to go through an evolution process, and it already has gone through an evolution process. But I just kind of wanted to share this with you. So all in all, I think it took about $100, maybe $150 to complete this outhouse. And when I say that it went through an evolution, it literally did. We began our outhouse journey with a pallet sitting here and like a bucket travel toilet. So kind of just like a composting toilet that you use when you're going to campgrounds or living in a van and things like that. So we were using the bathroom outside but not having to dig holes. So the really neat thing though about this outhouse is that it is all reclaimed, repurposed materials. So all of this siding that you're seeing here with the wallpaper and the different colors came out of our house that we sold when we remodeled, or more so demolitioned, to bring the basement of the house back to its original state before we sold it. So I laugh because it's like pretty much this outhouse is made out of the house that we had to let go of in order to get over here. So let me show you what we did here. And again, there's pictures of the journey below or at the end that you'll get to check out. So we did dig footers here, and you'll see concrete blocks. Like there's one there. So we use cinder blocks to help us with footers. The concrete was the most expensive of this project, I would say. And then we dug the footers and then laid a pallet over it, 2 pallets. So it's 2 pallets wide, if you can see here. So the pallets helped us like stabilize a floor. We thought that that was a safe attempt because pallets are used for shipping materials all over the world, and heavy materials. Let's see. So our roof construction here, you'll notice that it's open. We're planning on putting some screen there to keep bird nests and things out like that. But that allows the building to get good airflow, so it's not like stinky and hot during the summer. And then our roof materials up there, so our metal roof, we actually found on the road as we were cutting our way in. It had just been laid out there and forgotten, so we were fortunate and got to use it. This door we actually found on the road, and this is one of our favorite things. We still need to make a handle. It still needs some love, right? Some like TLC, but we love this door because it's got this secured by ADT sign on it, which we just thought was humorous. And on the inside, there's an exit sign. So again, this was on the road as we were clearing our path to get in here. So these white panels, we actually, you'll probably see around here, we still got stuff laying around. We had planned on making pop can walls where those 2 front white panels are to fill in that space. That's something we've really been wanting to play with, but we were actually gifted these 2 boards. So thank you, Hubert and Michelle. And they were the perfect size. We didn't have to cut them or anything, and that was just more energy efficient to us and time wise more efficient, so we decided just to throw them up there instead. We still need to do some steps here. We still kind of need to figure out something around the bottom because as you see, like It's getting dirty from the splatter. This is one of my favorite sides. It's wonky as all get out right now. And eventually all these big white pieces and the door will be painted like a solid color, just to bring a little bit more life back to it. But this is one of my favorite sides. This door did come out of the basement. I don't know why we kept it. We kind of felt silly about it, but for whatever reason, we kept it. So when we kind of hit a spot where we were running out of materials, as you can see, we got down to like all of our cutoff ends. We were like, well, shoot, what are we gonna do? Like pop cam wall or what? But we realized we had this door and it was the perfect fit. So we just threw the door up there and then filled in the corner with all of our scrap pieces. So you'll see like the foam from where we've tried to seal it up. And we will hopefully get to clean that up or maybe finish it. But for right now, it's done for the season. We needed to move on to the house. So this will evolve over time. Out here, so we are a composting tool. Let me take you in. Everything needs a good washing. We kind of like got everything up and then things have been stored forever, right? And so like things just need to be cleaned. The material that came out of our old house was a funny thing. We kind of felt like crazy people. We broke it down, we pulled all the nails out of it, and we went and got a small storage unit, filled that storage unit full, and for 1.5 years, it was in the storage unit drying. And then we wanted to get rid of the storage unit, so once we had the road cleared enough that we could get the truck in, we unloaded everything and made what's called our lumber yard. And we tried to cover it and thought we were doing well, but things took us a little bit longer than anticipated. So therefore we had some mold issues, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, everything just still kind of needs a sprucing. So our floor here, we actually got inspiration from a local art house, Gary Bowling's House of Art. So it's just plywood, and then we stained it, used different color stains to make fun designs on it. And we just had like a day where we just got to be creative. That wasn't like heavy building and hard manual labor. So that was a nice break. And then we polyed it, but it obviously needs a little washing. So this is the door on the inside, and that's what I love most about it. Like, and the little handle's still here. So we are a composting toilet. So right now this is pretty makeshift. It will be filled in a little bit more later down the road, but essentially you just have a bucket that you use the restroom in, and then we use pine pellets and make sawdust out of it to help contain the smell, keep any flies going. That way the process of breakdown of decomposition can continue or begin. No water in here right now, so some good old hand sanitizer. But it's been pretty simple. One of my favorite things too about this, let's see, we can get a light on there, is where these were recycled materials. Some of them did have nails. So we had another neighbor, Rick, give us some 2x4 scraps. So thank you, Rick. And some of them did have screws and nails in them. You'll see here. There's one right there. And we just kind of left them. And we're going to utilize them for hooks, like what they're doing right now for hanging spaces. So we've tried to be real intentional. We've tried to watch how much time, effort, energy we did. So everything kind of takes this like art form. You'll see like it's balanced. We have the same thing on each side, but they're not completely flush with each other. So we just thought that kind of gave a creative spin, and that helped us from less cuts. Like we did not have to make more cuts, which was really, really nice. So one of the other things that will be interesting to see how that goes is we went to go pick up some bricks from Facebook Marketplace, and these people kind of found out what we were doing and sent us home with a handful more things. So these garden timbers that were in really good shape, were gifted to us, and so they are the corners of the frame work here. Now, everybody has a different opinion on that, because technically these aren't made for like ground contact and they weather, but technically they're not on the ground. They worked perfectly, so it will be interesting to see over time how they stand. So I had mentioned that we had some mold issues, right? And that was super disheartening, because it was like, man, the basement demolition would have moved a lot faster had we not been really meticulous about not breaking boards, and had we not been really meticulous about pulling every single nail out. And I mean, they use so many nails. There's nails about every 2 inches. So it was really time consuming. I'd say it took us a week longer, more than likely, because we were having to be very meticulous and very cautious, because we knew we wanted to reuse these pieces. Not only that, but we also spent a lot of energy and time in affording the storage unit for a year and a half, right? We had to move them there and unload them and stack them, and then we had to get them out of the storage unit and move them onto the land. So a lot was happening. So when we noticed mold growth, that was like, shit, for better lack of words. Like, are we even going to be able to use these materials, and how much time, effort, and energy we put into them, and then not going to be able to use them? So what we did is we decided to give it a try. So before we started building with them, everyone got sprayed down and cleaned with a white vinegar solution. That was the best thing that I had researched. Not adding more water to it, because water activates the mold, and vinegar kills it and dries it out. So everything got sprayed down with a white vinegar solution. And then we built, right? And then after we built, I actually did get some mold killer. And they make all types of like mold and mildew stain remover. So we weren't removing stains here. We did have to use somewhat of a harsher chemical, because the goal was to kill the spores, not necessarily remove the stains. And so we used that. It took about 3 gallons to do that, and cleaned it up real nice. And we haven't seen any mold growth since. So that was a lifesaver. We hope that it will continue to be that way, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it. And we said, worst comes to worst, like if we start noticing it because our environment is damp here, then we might just have to reconstruct this later down the road. But we'll take our chance and see what unfolds here. One thing we did do too is, you'll see all this brush here. So we took another layer out on this path to allow more sunlight to get here. So hopefully that will help too. So plans for the future, we'll see when that happens in another season. So we will rainwater collect here. So we just still need to add a gutter here, and then a rainwater collection barrel back here. And then it will gravity feed this little area, which is going to be like our sanitation station. So all these buckets you see are either waiting to be filled with human waste, or are needing to be emptied with human waste to the compost pile. So out here, we'd kind of like to have a cleaning station. So some sort of a sink, just to be able to rinse things, and also a gray water collection container when we do rinse and wash, and the gray water will also feed the compost pile. Inside, we'll have a little hand washing station too. Justin's got some really fun ideas for it, and it will go in this corner hopefully. But so we hope by this time next year that we'll kind of be at that space. But winter was coming. What we have right now works for the two of us. So we needed to get to focus on the house. So a lot of people are kind of like, what are you doing with your human waste? Humanure. So it's something that we're going to experiment with and give it a try. It may or may not work for us. Right now it is working. And for the life of me, I can't remember the man's name who is known as the Humanure guy. But the Humanure handbook, I'll put a link to it down below. He's super educated. There's a lot of research behind it in using human waste to create soil, right? So we're pretty holistic. We kind of want things to go full circle. So it's like we eat something, it comes out, it's going to go through this process that kills viruses and germs and all that jazz and bad bacteria, and will create beautiful soil to put back onto our flowers or even our food after some testing is done, which will grow things that go back into our body, and then it will come back out here again. We have learned a handful of things about it, things the way we started out, and then we realized, or at least me as a nurse was like, we can't be fooling with this. We need a better solution. We need a better way of doing this. So if you all are interested in hearing more about how we have dealt with our Humanure compost, just let me know and I'll do a separate video on that. But let's notice, like, I keep moving here. So, you know, not too far away from each other. It doesn't have to travel very far. It's actually been a fun process. I love it. I nerd out over this whole deal here. And this is pretty full. It's still got room to go, but this has been stacking up since May or June of this year. So that is our $150 composting outhouse. Let me know what you all think. And as soon as it starts another season of evolution, I will update you. Don't forget here right at the end of this video that you can check out pictures and videos that I've put together from our actual build so you can see the process. We appreciate you guys. Let us know if you have any questions or comments, what you think, how you feel about it, what you want to know more about. And for those of you all that helped us with materials, we really, really appreciate you. So much gratitude for that. It helped out a lot. All right. Have a good day.